November 1968, Northern California. A quiet road, a parked car, two young people laughing, unaware they're being watched. Moments later, gunfire shatters the peace. It would be the first known attack by a man who called himself the Zodiac, a figure who would soon become one of the most infamous and mysterious killers in American history. A man who turned murder into a game, taunted police with coded letters, and vanished without a trace. This is not just a story about crime, it's a story about fear, obsession, and the hunt for a ghost. The first confirmed Zodiac murders took place on December 20th, 1968, near Vallejo, California. Teenagers Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday were parked on a quiet road when they were ambushed. Both were shot at close range. There were no witnesses, no motive, and no leads. 7 months later, another couple, Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau, were attacked at a similar lover's lane. Mageau survived and gave a chilling description. A man with a flashlight and a gun, calm and methodical. But what came next would shock everyone. On July 31st, 1969, three newspapers, the San Francisco Chronicle, the San Francisco Examiner, and the Vallejo Times-Herald, each received a handwritten letter. The letters began the same way. Dear editor, this is the Zodiac speaking. Inside were threats, boasts, and a cipher, a mysterious code made up of symbols and strange patterns. The killer demanded that the ciphers be printed on the front page, or he would strike again. The code, now known as the 408 cipher, was cracked days later by a local schoolteacher, Donald Hardin, and his wife. When decoded, it revealed something chilling. I like killing people because it is so much fun. It wasn't just a confession, it was a manifesto. The Zodiac seemed to enjoy playing with the police and media. He bragged about his crimes, mocked detectives for being too slow, and even included pieces of victims' clothing to prove his authenticity. Each new letter was signed with his infamous crosshair symbol, Sagittarius, part gun sight, part signature. He claimed credit for murders no one could prove, and sent maps with strange markings, daring police to catch me if you can. He promised to shoot school buses, to blow up bombs, to keep killing until he was stopped. But he never was. The survivors' stories. Two survivors lived to describe the Zodiac, and their stories only deepened the mystery. In September 1969, college students Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were picnicking by Lake Berryessa when a man in a hooded costume approached them. He wore a black executioner's hood with the Zodiac symbol stitched on his chest. He tied them up, spoke calmly, then stabbed them both. Cecilia died later in the hospital. Before leaving, he scrawled a message on their car door, listing the dates of his previous murders and signing it Zodiac. A month later, a cab driver in San Francisco named Paul Stein was shot in the head. The killer wiped down the cab, tore a piece of Stein's bloody shirt, and mailed it to the Chronicle. He said he was collecting slaves for the afterlife. This wasn't just a killer. This was a man staging his own mythology. The investigation. The Zodiac case consumed the police. 5 different jurisdictions, dozens of detectives, and even the FBI joined the hunt. But the Zodiac was always one step ahead. He used disguises, changed weapons, and left no fingerprints. He used coded language and often mailed letters weeks after his crimes, confusing timelines. The media frenzy turned him into a celebrity villain. People saw the Zodiac symbol everywhere, scratched into desks, carved into walls, even scrawled on bathroom mirrors. The prime suspect. Over the decades, hundreds of suspects were investigated. The most notorious was Arthur Lee Allen, a disturbed man with a fascination for weapons, codes, and young victims. Allen owned a Zodiac-style watch with the same crosshair logo, and several acquaintances reported his obsession with the case. He even told people he wanted to be called Zodiac. Police raided his home multiple times. He failed polygraph tests, but no hard evidence ever linked him directly to the crimes. In 1991, after Allen's death, DNA testing on stamps and envelopes did not match him. The case returned to square one. The codes that never spoke. For over 50 years, the Zodiac ciphers baffled experts and amateurs alike. Some claimed they were meaningless. Others believed they contained his true name. Then, in December 2020, a group of code breakers from the US, Australia, and Belgium finally cracked the 340 cipher. After half a century, the message was revealed, but it was not what anyone expected. I am not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise all the sooner. No identity, no clue, just another taunt. It was as if the Zodiac was laughing from beyond the grave. The theories. The Zodiac mystery inspired thousands of theories. Some believe he was a former military cryptographer, someone with advanced code knowledge. Others think he was a police insider who used investigation details to stay ahead. One theory connects him to Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, because of similar language patterns. Another claims he was a group of killers, not one man. Every time technology advances, new suspects emerge. DNA traces, handwriting analysis, AI pattern recognition, yet none have solved the puzzle. The legacy. The Zodiac killer didn't just terrorize California, he changed American culture. He inspired books, films, and characters like the villain in Dirty Harry and countless crime thrillers after. He also influenced how police and the FBI handle media in active investigations. The Zodiac was among the first to use mass communication as a weapon, turning newspapers into his personal stage. He made the public part of his story, and that's why the story never died. So, who was the Zodiac killer? A lone psychopath lost to time? A man who died without ever being caught? Or someone who lived among us, reading every article, every theory, smiling as the world tried to decode his madness? More than 50 years later, the Zodiac remains America's greatest unsolved mystery, a symbol of how one man's ego and cruelty can haunt generations. Maybe his name is still hidden in his ciphers, or maybe that was the final joke all along.